My name is Braydonn Moore, and I'll be talking about the top 10 things to know about the Arab Spring. First, the Arab Spring is a movement that happened in a region of the world called the Arab world, which is mainly northern Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. It's called the Arab world because the major language in most of these countries is Arabic, and the major religion in most of these countries is Islam. Started in Tunisia, which is this country up in northern Africa, and it started because a man, because of oppression and them stealing his vegetable cart, the government, he lit himself on fire in front of a government building. This act started the Arab Spring and started protests in many countries. In some of these countries, the protests led to the regime being removed and the government being restructured. Some did not, and some started civil wars. You can see here that some of the power transfers that happened, some of these people were in power for at least 22 years, some 24, all the way up to 42 years, as we see down in the bottom with Libya. Some did not result in the leaders being removed, and they are still in power today. In the Arab Spring, there was huge protests. Mainly in the Arab world were protests, but there were protests throughout the world. But in Egypt, we see that it is estimated 17 to 30 million people took to the streets in protest. Tahrir Square in Cairo had multiple million people protest against the government. That government was later toppled and replaced. It is estimated that 61,000 people were killed during the Arab Spring due to these protests. In Syria, the protests led to the Syrian civil war, which led to the Syrian refugee crisis. Because of the violence, 6.6 million Syrians have fled and become refugees throughout the world. And then 6 million are still uprooted and displaced in their country. This is the greatest refugee movement since World War II and caused millions and millions of people to travel all around the world to find a new country. The war and violence that existed in the Arab Spring was different in every country, but tanks were used. It became a multinational war as interests were affected from other nations. But again, 61,000 people are dead because of it. That is the information on the Arab Spring. Thank you.